What is up, YouTube? This is JR Juggernaut1, and welcome to, I think this is going to be like whatever episode I'm continuing with this, but whatever episode is next in line. But this is going to be the weekly meta discussion episode, insert number here. For this episode, I want to talk about basically just going to talk about YCS Brighton, the upcoming format over the next month, and I'll continue this discussion in the coming weeks. But that and just, this is kind of my way of this is my bit to kind of say happy holidays to you all. I hope all of you have a wonderful Christmas / Hanukkah. I myself am Jewish, so I'm celebrating Hanukkah, so Christmas doesn't apply, but I am going to California to visit family, and some of them do celebrate Christmas, so I guess we'll just kind of be celebrating it with them. I will be gone from tomorrow afternoon until Wednesday, sometime in the afternoon. I'll end up getting a video up that day, so probably expect of it in another week. Not too far away. But let's talk about the meta right now. YCS Brighton to me was very surprising by the fact that there was a fair popularity of rapid decks and a fair amount of them prevalent within the but more so the fact that there's a fair amount prevalent in the top 32. From what I heard, there were only about 70 decks. About 70-80 rapid decks in the meta at this event, and the meta this event was supposed to have, I think, supposedly had about 700 people. So yeah, I've covered about 10% of the meta. And to see I believe it was 8 of these decks ended up making top 32, but I could be wrong about that number. Either way, I thought that was impressive. But to me, again, I just don't think Rapid's that good. I think the Rapid deck is better running that since we have Tour Guide, and it's probably better to have a build that, like, you're gonna go Tour Guide, but you also have the max C's for draw power instead of mainly the D Fishers because it's less consistent. But I mean, people have their own opinions. I just don't really think it's the best deck right now. I don't. I think Plants are personally a better deck, even though they have a very good matchup against Plants, obviously, because they're able to play the D-Fishers. I don't know. I'm just really not sure what to make of it. But either way, there were some very good players who ended up topping, including Luke Leonard, who's topped previous European events. Claudio Kishmir. I do not want to butcher his last name, but I'm most likely doing that right now. One of the most well-known European players out there at the moment, along with Michel Gruner. Stefan Sluis, I believe, the winner of YCS Paris earlier this year. There's just a lot of big names. In terms of decks, I wasn't too surprised. The decks that I was just curious to learn about were number 1, TG Agent deck that made top 32, obviously, because I've been running TG Agents. But I wasn't a big fan of the deck. I'm not going to say the guy didn't deserve the top, but I was very surprised he topped the build that he had. He was running not because he ran like 8 traps as opposed to like little to none, but more because he was running Spirit Reapers, which I don't know how well they actually fit in the deck. Maybe I could be wrong about that. And he was, what was it he wasn't playing? And yeah, and he wasn't playing creature swaps, which really surprised me, and I think he was only running like maybe 1 duality. I was just surprised by some of the card choices in his deck, that's all. I just kind of like the way my deck runs better. But still, good deck. I'm glad one TG Asian deck ended up topping. And the second one was this Water Synchro deck. Water Synchro, I don't understand why they call this deck Water Synchro, though. It's basically Frog Monarchs with the addition of the Plant Engine. Players did this last format too, but it's just without Fishborg. There isn't as much Synchro Summoning to it. I thought it was a cool deck, but I don't know. Personally, I just didn't see what was so. I guess I still didn't see what was so good about it. Like, the deck can't make the same huge plays it used to be able to make, so I was just surprised by how well it fared in this type of meta. Oh, especially with like rapid decks, Dark World decks. Like, Dark World has Dark Smog to deal with a deck like that. Rabbit runs D Fissure, plants have max C. It's like, I don't know what this. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Regardless, though, I think I'm still I still really am. I'm still glad a deck like that made it all the way to the top four. Wasn't happy with the fact that the finals were a mirror match, was a rabbit mirror match, and three out of the top three spots all went to rabbit decks. But it is whatever. There just seems to be a lot of people are starting to kind of really find a lot of are starting to really move towards the rabbit deck and really find a lot of liking to it. I don't know. I'm not going to judge people, but if I had looking at this YCS, it was good. I'm just worried because I don't want rabbit decks to become more popular. I don't like having such an expensive deck in this format. Having decks this expensive. I'll get into a rant video about this, but it's just annoying. Like, it's like, I mean, you have to spend like $700 just for 6 cards in this deck. That's insane. But the deck, again, it's got a lot of effectiveness to it. For me, in terms of like playing against it, the problem I have is the only card I ever end up siding against this deck is Smashing Grounds. I find that there aren't a ton of cards you can really side in against this deck, so I'm not sure what people expect to do against it. Like, you can side in you've got Smashing Grounds. Smashing Horn is one option, but I don't think of many cards off the top of my head. Like, if you're concerned about their back rows, okay, Royal Decree. Skill Drain's actually a very good card against this deck because it locks them down before they're able to. Because if you play it before they're able to play their monsters, then you're in pretty good shape. Before they're able to go into Lagir Dulka, yeah, you're in pretty good shape at that point. Which is part of the reason why I'm considering testing out TG Stun as opposed to TG Agents. I've got a lot I'm thinking about right now. I will probably talk about this with my friends more when I get back. I'm gonna kind of just put Yu-Gi-Oh on the back burner for now and just enjoy my holiday, because I don't want to drive myself crazy thinking about it. Either way, as the Edison Regional gets closer, I will be talking about how I'm preparing for it. Given the fact that it's in 2 weeks, I will try to decide quickly what deck I'm going to run. But thinking about this meta at this point, it's crazy enough now, and when you throw in Insectors and windups into the mix, it's just frustrating. I'll be talking about kind of the answer to this in another video, like how to approach this problem, but it's just a little frustrating thinking about it, because those decks are going to be annoying as hell. And one of the reasons I want to pick up Max C's is because I feel like that card's going to be only more popular once those decks come out, because they're not so good against Insectors, but they're really good against windups. So yeah, do with that what you want. I don't know how much time this video is going on, but that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to get off my chest. I think really I'm just kind of bothered because the format that we're in, I don't see I don't see one deck that can do a good job of countering all 3 of these top decks. You know, you've got Dark World, Plants, and Rabbit, and it's frustrating, so I don't really know what to do about it. If anyone has any suggestions, leave a comment below, because, I mean, TG Stun isn't the best option, but on one hand, it's not so hurt by Dark Worlds. It can deal with the deck if you play the deck correctly and if you play fast enough. It also it obviously kills plants. And Rabbit, it's mixed. Rabbit, they have the D Fissure that will bug the hell out of you, but you have Skill Drain to hurt them. So it really kind of depends on who goes first and what cards you draw. But I don't think it's that much of a problem. Besides, you also have Wonder Magician to deal with D Fissure if you really need to. It's up to you. But D Fissure is obviously a pain in the ass for the deck. I will get back to you. For all I know, I'm going to immediately stop the thought of TG Stun. I was just thinking about it because a few friends of my locals were playing it today, and I was thinking about how I like that protection. I like how safe you feel playing a lot of these cards, because you've got all these back rows to protect you, and that feels very good. I mean, the thing is, I'm a very aggressive player, but I like playing with back row. So maybe TG stun is the way to go, because then you can play aggressively, controlling, and with a lot of back row. So I have no idea. I might, if I do, I might just use a build I was helping my friend make. But more stuff, more information on that later on. I hope you guys enjoy your holiday. I will have more vids up. I might actually have one up tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. But just talking about this rant. Otherwise, I'll have a vid up when I get back. But yeah, see you guys.